Ellen, good morning to you. Many thanks for joining us. You're watching Galaxy today, coming to you from Galaxy Television. It is the lifestyle edition, and today we will be discussing something that is really very interesting, something that almost everyone needs, or everyone, not just almost everyone, everyone needs to find it and then to make their lives complete. Welcome once again. My name is Justin Akadonye.
And as usual, he's not alone, he's with Uche Onyekonje. Like you rightly said, we're looking at a topic that is very essential to everyone. And like you rightly also said, we're looking at finding true and complete happiness. I mean, this is something a whole lot of youth keep saying or keep wondering that never exists. They think it's just a fairy tale thing. Some feel you only exist in a novel, something probably in a cartoon world. But today we'll get to know if it truly exists, because a part of me says it exists anyway. But we'll be looking at this with someone who is a life coach who will be taking us all through this. Once again, I'm Uche Onyekonje, and a big welcome to the show.
Yes, finding true happiness, it is something that is very topical. What does happiness mean? What does it really mean to you? Is it possible finding complete happiness? You know, what do you get, or what makes you know that you have found that happiness that makes your life complete? Is it about finding the love of your life? Is it about amassing so much wealth, or is it about both, or just what is it exactly? We'll be looking at that. Like Uche said, we have a life coach with us. She's called Happy Diva, who specializes in helping people find happiness by becoming the best versions of themselves. Let's make welcome Tosin Doherty. Many thanks for joining us on Galaxy today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. She needs to know how to find true happiness.
Like seriously, Justin, I was trying not to hit. Okay, I'll just go straight to the point. I mean, he did make a statement that is it amassing a whole lot of wealth that makes you happy, or finding the true life partner, which I feel probably is his own. So for the sake of Justin, for the sake of those at home might want to know how to truly find happiness. And not just finding happiness, but also complete happiness. I don't understand what he meant by complete happiness. So let's start with that. What exactly is complete happiness, and how do we find it?
Okay, so let's start from what happiness is.
Okay.
So as simply as possible, we're going to define happiness as a positive emotional state, ranging from contentment to euphoria, joy. So I think that says what happiness is. And obviously, we can't be happy all the time. Okay. Happiness is momentous. So sometimes we are not in a happy state, but we have memories of a past event that made us happy. You'll think, oh, I'll be happy then. Fortunately or unfortunately for a lot of us, we've been programmed by society to believe that certain things are going to make us happy. So right from, when we're very young, we are given fairy tale books, and we hear happily ever after. The prince and the princess met and they lived happily ever after. For some of us, it's like, oh, you've been told by your parents at home, get your first degree, then your master's, then you'll get a fantastic job, then you'll be happy. For some people, maybe it's children. They want to have a beautiful set of twins, or a boy and a girl. Some have even calculated it. They're going to have 2.2 children. But happiness, thanks to science now, because happiness is studied under the field of positive psychology, and the researchers have found in social sciences that there are three main factors that will determine your happiness. First of all, it's your biological set point. Your DNA contributes 40% to how happy you're going to be.
DNA?
Yes, your DNA. So you have a natural set point, physiological set point, that sets how happy you can be by 40%. After that, the one that we're all big on, that, if by the time I have a Bentley, a house in Banana Island, a British passport, whatever, that only contributes 10%. Okay. The major thing that contributes to our happiness is our own intention. We need to set the intention, our goal, our purpose. That is what actually determines majorly how happy we're
the bulk of happiness.
Yes, our own intention, our plans to be happy, what we've decided is going to make us happy.
Regardless of what the plans are, if they're positive or negative?
That's another question. But for you, it's positive.
Okay.
For you, because it's going to make you happy.
Okay.
It's positive. Now, whether it's going to be a social problem to other people or a crime, maybe you need to go for some kind of counseling to have that hope or desire properly managed so that we can convert it into a positive goal. But basically, it's about your intention.
It's about our intention, I get that, but a lot of people, most often than not, they tend to, you know, want to have other people around them happy. They tend to do so much more, even you know, when it's not so convenient for them, just to see other people smile or just to, you know, bring joy to other people. But deep down within them, they've not been able to find true happiness.
Well, one of the ways of being happy is actually making people happy. But you can't make other people happy at your own displeasure, at your own expense. And also, happiness is contagious. So the happiness that you want to give to people has to start with you. If you're a happy person, your happiness will radiate. Those around you will enjoy that happiness. In fact, happy people tend to stay in more secure, long-term relationships. They tend to attract partners. So your happiness has to start with you.
Thank you for saying that. I know that could be so contagious when it comes to Justin and I. I mean, I'm never at a dull moment. Okay, so when you say that you've actually given us 100% of how to be happy, but you know, being happy, or let's say, it's almost like every other thing, achieving anything in life is easier than sustaining it. So how do we get to sustain happiness? If I know that these are the things that make up happiness, how do I sustain them?
It's by being mindful. It's an everyday goal. So I think you're aware, last month we celebrated the International Day of Happiness.
Yes.
And happiness has been identified as a human goal, basically a human right. Everybody has a right to be happy. So, but your happiness starts with you knowing what will make you happy. As I said earlier, a lot of us have been programmed into thinking by getting the degree or getting a secure job, and then we get it and we're like, oh, I'm not happy. This is because these things have been programmed into us, and we've just grown up not listening to our own inner voice, our own desires. So somewhere along the line, we just discover we've actually not gotten that happiness. So first of all, for you to be happy, you need to listen to yourself. You need to listen to that inner voice. There's some of us, there's some carpenters that are in the bank working as bankers. There's some lawyers that will actually want to be tailors. So and then that's why over time you see people shifting in their career path, or some people later on, especially this is more common abroad, you hear of couples breaking up, women in their 40s just deciding, look, I don't want to be married anymore. It's not working for me. I'll be happy on my own.
Yeah, I was going to even talk about that. Let's even stay on that for a bit on the home front. People have been married for a very long time. You know, they even have children who grown up, some of them in the university. You know, you'd think that they are very happy people. They've been able to weather so many storms all through the years. But just one day, you just find that they are actually headed for divorce. I mean, how can you stay in a relationship for a very long time and you're not even happy, and you just realize it after several years?
Well, the happiness did not start on one day. And I believe it's, first of all, it's a lot of things. It's a combination of a lot of things. So first of all, you have to have common goals.
Okay.
And then after that, you have to be mindful and realize that it's not a one-day job. It's not over until it's over. So for you to be happily married, it's something that every day, every waking day, your purpose is to intend that I'm going to stay happily married, so I have to do the things that will contribute to that happiness. So the work doesn't stop. I think where we fail is when we think that, oh, I've achieved it, I've got the certificate, I'm married. No, every day you have to, the same way you wooed the person and you got engaged and you finally got married, it's an everyday chase.
That's so much work.
I tell my husband, he hasn't finished toasting me. We've just started, and I've been married for 22 years. So it's a constant. And it's not about, let's not think it's all about buying things for each, just being nice, generally nice. I think sometimes we lose it where sometimes we think, oh, the race is over, so I don't have to make much effort anymore. I see husbands, the wife is talking and the man just answers with a grunt. He's not even bothered to open his mouth. And the same with women. I mean, it's the fault is both parties. But for one to sustain a happy marriage, it's something that you're going to have to identify common goals for the marriage and then take steps that daily, every day, you are making that effort. It doesn't stop on one day. And when those goals are achieved, you identify new ones. Initially, it might be starting a family. Okay, you've started the family, the children have gone to university. A lot of people, it's when the children have gone out, they start developing those problems. And it's because they never had a plan that passed, we are going to have children together. Some don't have plans for later on that, okay, maybe we'll be going to the village once a month every year. Maybe we'll have a common business that we're doing. Plans for your 60s, 70s, 80s. The happiest people, I believe, are those that have a purpose, a sense of purpose, a plan for their lives, what they actually want to achieve. When you're aimless, you don't really have a plan, that is when discontentment can arrive. Because basically you're living hand to mouth. It's just like eat, sleep, and that's when depression sets in.
Okay, can we?
Or rather, that's when depression can set in.
Okay, but can we link this to health? I hear health, our health now. A lot of people say happiness, being happy is medicinal.
Yes.
How true is it?
I'm a testimony to that.
Okay.
In terms of that, a while back I was very ill, and I believe that it was my nature. I think I have a very high set point in terms of happiness, and I believe that it was my happiness that got me out of the hospital bed. Also, they've done research. There's research available that shows that people that are happy tend to live longer. There's a case documented of a guy that had HIV, and the doctors had given him 2 years to live. And he actually now set out to be happy. He mindfully set goals, the things he wanted to do that would create that happiness in him. And he ended up living from 2 years lifespan. He went on to live a further 9 years.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, so it's very beneficial. We found that happiness contributes to longevity. We found that couples that are happily married, that live longer and healthier. So happiness, there's even a case documented of another lady. She says that she can trace her case of breast cancer back to the time when her divorce proceedings were going through to her with her husband, and it was a time of great unhappiness for her. So definitely, your happiness is strongly related to your health, and it's been well documented. There's research to back all this up.
Okay, a lot of people are trying to call, but feel free to interact with us on social media using the hashtag Galaxy Today. If you do have questions or comments, feel free to also send SMS. The number is now on the screen, and Mrs. Doherty will attend to all of them. One has just come in already, although it was not really so clear. But I'll just read it the way it is. I don't know if it's a he or a she, but it says, what is happiness in a relationship?
Happiness is individual. Everybody has a different perspective of what will make them happy in a relationship. And that's why I believe that your happiness should come from within. You being a happy person will contribute to having a happy relationship. You have to identify your goals. You have to be with the right person that is also ready and able to work or relate with you in a way that will help you achieve those goals. So I give an example. A young lady that is an introvert, although they say opposites attract, is now being courted by a young man that is an extrovert, and every night he's in the beer parlor, he's very, so, and maybe they don't have common goals. Maybe he's in the entertainment industry, maybe she's a serious banker or a lecturer in the university. If she cannot accommodate him, the relationship is not destined for happiness. So you really have to look beyond, that you like a person. You actually have to be very mindful about when going into a relationship that, first of all, it's not about falling in love only. Do you actually like the person? Do you share common goals? Do you have the same aspirations?
So those are factors. To be in a
Yeah.
relationship, there should be common goals
Yeah.
for if you intend to get happy with that
Yeah.
relationship.
One person cannot want to. I mean, I've heard of instances where people have broken up because when they got married, the couple did not realize that one party would want to relocate to America and the other one wanted to stay in Nigeria.
Wow.
And at the end of the day, they couldn't reach a middle ground, an agreement. So they had
Okay,
to
so
break
how
up.
do we help people who seems to be sliding away from happiness and probably gradually going into depression? I know it's not the duty of any man to make another happy, but if you happen to stay around someone who is, there's some people who are just naturally bitter. So how do you help such people?
That person might require counseling.
Okay.
But apart from counseling, you have to be ready to work with the person. You have to be mindful of the fact that we're all not the same, and this person may have been subject to certain experiences that have created that bitterness.
Okay.
So you have to be able to now identify what is causing the bitterness and then help the person realize that, okay, maybe if they change their perspective, this thing that is causing this bitterness, if the person tried to look at it from another angle, maybe they'd be able to work their way through it by setting other criteria for living. Because sometimes it's like bitterness occurs when we have unresolved issues or when we're discontent.
Okay, yes, I like that word. I mean, let's take it to a circle where you have a group of people trusting or believing God for one thing, and it looks like others are breaking out, and for one reason or the other, it seems like a couple aren't. You know, in a situation like that, where you know that you are in a circle of friends where you all want something, and it feels like it's working out for some of you, and yet, because I believe that it's still going to work out for others, it's just a matter of time. And you know, when it comes to happiness, it's not something you want to bottle. You're happy there's something you've been looking for has finally happened. But simply because you belong or you are in a circle where it's yet to happen to others, you cannot express this. This is where I'm going to. How do you express your happiness in the midst of people whom you think probably want the same thing with you? You're not sure if they're going to be happy with you. You're not sure if you're going to be hurting them by being happy because you've gotten your own. How do you now, I know you don't understand what way I'm going to.
I understand.
So, how do you manage a situation like that, particularly when it has to do with ladies?
Maybe you need to change your friends.
Okay, yes.
Because you can't all, we're all different. And at different times in your life, you should be surrounded by the people that have your interests at heart and that are able to bring out positive emotions from you. So if you have to suppress your own joy, kill your own light so that others can be happy. Maybe you're right now you have grown out of that circle and you need to move or aspire to move towards those that are facing in the direction you want to go. Meanwhile, at the same time, being supportive to those people that are all waiting and being available, but not just making them your core people. There's an expression, the children that started 20 children cannot play for 20 years.
Yes,
I don't know if you were familiar.
Yes.
So you move on. There's nothing bad. It's not that you grow out of relationships. So it's just a natural process.
All right, it is still Galaxy today, and we're still looking at finding true and complete happiness. We'll still have Tosin Doherty with us here in the studios. Keep your questions and comments coming. We'll be taking them when we return from this quick break. We'll take this musical break, the song by Timida Kolo, I Never Know Say. We still have Tosin Doherty with us, and we're looking at finding true and complete happiness. All right, you said that true happiness comes from within, comes from you, that you cannot give what you don't have. You cannot give happiness except you are truly happy. But how is it possible lately to find happiness, specifically when you've actually been hit by all the storms of life and it's as though nothing seems to be working in your life? How do you begin to brace away from all of that and find happiness once again?
Well, it's by changing your perspective, not focusing on the negative. In Nigeria, we're fond of positive talk. It shall not happen to me, in God's name. But at the same time, it has happened.
Okay.
So, for example, maybe you lose your job. And instead of focusing on the fact that you've you've lost your job. And of course, it's going to affect you financially. And also, you're not enjoying the fact that you're unemployed and you're generally having a bad time of it. And you're seeing it as, oh, the beginning of the end for you in terms of your circumstances. Maybe it would be better to change your perspective and look at it that, oh, this is a time for me to change career. Maybe this time out from work for me, I mean, I might have to resolve to my plan B. And what are my other options? I give a good example. There was a young man many years ago, and he was having difficulty getting a job fresh out of university. And he wanted a bank job. I mean, it was all about banking then. I keep on using bankers as my examples. I'm so sorry, bankers. But, you know, he had this desire to be a banker, but no job was. He had put out his CV, gone for interviews, but he still didn't get the job. So he resolved within himself that, okay, what do I do to keep body and soul together, pending the time I get the job I want? So he became a laundryman, and he was washing clothes for the young executives in his area, who so happened to also be, a few of them were bankers and then other professionals. And one of them took interest in him, and he asked him for his CV, and eventually led him to being employed in the bank.
Wow.
Sometimes a setback may be your
stepping stone.
Yes. And if you keep on focusing on the downside or how the world has suddenly turned against you, you will not be able to be creative and open such that you can now enjoy other options. One good thing about maintaining a happy spirit or happy mindset is that it allows you to be creative, it allows you to be open-minded, allows you to have more options. But when you're unhappy, you have a closed mindset. So you're not able to appreciate other options that might be in your environment. So basically.
Okay, there's a question for you. Although she didn't state her name, she says, good morning, thank you for this topic. I have a husband that is 1 minute happy, 1 minute angry. He has killed my own happiness. Please, what do I do now after 2 children?
First of all, we need to know why he's like that. He mustn't. I think they had a courtship. They've been married for some time, so they have two children. Yeah. So he didn't become like that overnight. Maybe she has to find out what is causing these mood swings. He might be having issues at work. It may be an emotional problem. When she comes to the understanding of what is causing it, she may find that she can now play a more supportive role. And also be aware that if she, and then she should also focus on her own happiness. So what point is she at now? What does she actually want in the relationship? How does she go about getting it? Identify goals and work at that goals. And along the line, I believe that as she becomes more positive, more happy, she'll actually attract happiness into her marriage. And her husband might not see her as a fellow unhappy person and start being, or rather, making that turnaround to be more happy because he will learn from her own example.
Okay, let's still talk about relationships now and talk about love. Some people have actually gotten into relationships they ordinarily wouldn't have, but they got a whole lot of encouragement that over time the love would grow, that they should just get into it because, you know, I'm talking about from the parents' perspective now. You know, I have a friend who has had to get married to some girl, you know, just because the parents wanted him to. You know, but the perspective the parents were given were that, you know, they didn't really were in love when they got married, but over time the love grew and then they were able to find happiness. Does that really work?
It depends. In some countries, arranged marriages still work, but that's because of their own social values, their own culture. It's like they've been programmed to make it work. But in 2019, I don't believe that the things that worked 50 years ago will still be working here today. And if the mere reason that he's having to question himself on the arrangement is enough reason not to actually go through it. He might want to, and we've all been trained to please our parents.
Yes.
But the thing is that it gets to a point where you actually have to be responsible for your own life, for your own decisions, because you are the one that will bear the brunt or the consequences of those decisions when they begin to affect you. So, I mean, for me, I mean, if it was my friend, I would not be on the side cheering for him to get married to this person.
Okay, still on the marriage and the relationship thing, I mean, there's this mentality, basically in Nigeria, that feels that you're not complete, you can find complete happiness if you're not married. And it almost feels like marriage is no longer like what I was told it is. It feels like it's an achievement. Like just as you get a certificate when you're done from school, you just have to add this. It's another feather to your cap, you know. So, is it possible to be single and yet be very happy and, of course, live a fulfilled life?
I believe so.
Okay.
I believe so. And I believe that over time, I believe when more and more people, is becoming more predominant that older people are actually single and they've never been married and they're very happy, society will begin to accept the fact that you can be single and you can be happy, just as you can be married and be very unhappy. Because there are people that remain in marriages even though they know that this relationship is the wrong relationship, but because they want to hang on to the certificate, as you said, they remain in those marriages. It's very possible, and it's all about perspective, setting the intention. What are your goals? What your goal for singleness? What is it? What are you going to achieve by being single that you can't achieve while being married? Is it your personality that doesn't allow you to relate well with other people, so you'd rather live on your own? Once you're true to yourself, you know yourself and you know what you want, those are the beginnings of happiness. And then, of course, not being easily influenced.
Okay, please, I'd like us to go back to what you said in your introduction. Maybe not verbatim now, but you did say something about it is you that have to decide to want to be happy. Yeah. Okay, and so if I'm to decide or have to maintain the mentality that I really want to be happy and I must stay happy, regardless of the situations around me. Now, knowing that that is the mentality you want to work with, or that's the mentality you want to carry, how do you carry that? How do you make that affect your workplace? How do you make that affect your relationships? How do you make that, because you said it's contagious, so no matter how toxic the environment is, how do you, as much as you want to remain happy, how do you try to stay stable? Because like you said, when you're happy, you're more creative. You find out that your mind is open to a whole lot. So how do you actually help yourself to remain happy regardless of situations where there are deadlines, there are pressures here and there?
Well, it's all about maintaining the internal calm.
Okay.
In a workplace that isn't so friendly, or is rather toxic, or there's a lot of pressure, you have to be mindful of the fact why you're in the workplace. Is it to make 30 days make one pay, to have a salary to generate income? So if you focus on the fact that by the time you get this income, it's going to meet you for your personal needs, or generally move on to what other aspirations you have. When you focus on that and not on the fact that the environment is not so positive, and then also if you look at the fact that what are you putting into the environment, you're part of that environment. So are you also a player? Are you also contributing to making that environment toxic? Then what is causing pressure? Are you planning? If you don't plan, of course there's going to be pressure, but you know you're in the workplace to do a specific job. What are the things that you can always have arranged or ordered such that whenever the pressure comes, you have a systematic way of handling it? Because it's no longer pressure if it's your job.
What if it's not just about pressure? What if it's about some people who are just bent on not... I don't know how to put this. I don't know how to put this so I don't come out as, you know. No, the truth is that sometimes some people there at the workplace, they're just, you know, on some sort of a mission, you know. whatever you do, nothing you can do can ever please them. You know, they are just bent on making you unhappy. How do you handle them and also accomplish your own task and still find happiness as well?
First of all, you don't have control over anybody.
Specifically, if those people are your bosses.
You don't have, you decided to work
Yes.
in that organization.
Okay.
You don't have control over them. You only have control over you. So you understand your boss. What is his modus operandi? What does he like? Am I able to deliver? Maybe I have to start looking for another job. Or what are the skills I need to develop so that I'll be able to work within this environment and not, you know, and be able to be happy. Maybe I need to take a time out. If I worked, I need to actually leave the office. Some people are fond of eating at their desks. Meanwhile, the mere fact that you're able to go for lunch can actually be therapeutic. You go for a walk down the road, you go to the nearest restaurant, you let off some of the steam, then you come back again refreshed. You take a tea break. A lot of Nigerians, they don't take breaks. They're at the desk 9 to 5. And some of those breaks, the reason why you have those breaks is so that you can de-stress, take a walk, have a cup of tea, change your perspective, talk to friends at home, or even these our phones are intrusive because they add to that. You're on the job, but you're also trying to answer various messages. Maybe you have a side hustle or something. So we need to be able to take time out. And when we take time out, we're able to refresh and restore ourselves, restore our energy, so that we'll be better placed to take on whatever missiles come our way.
Okay, this one says, please help me. I'm always sad and angry at my husband, and it's causing problem in my marriage. She didn't say why she gets sad.
So it's quite limiting. But what I always believe is that you need to get why. Why? When you know the why, you now know how you can resolve it. Why? If it's financial, then how do you, do you need to also contribute? There's so many options. There's so many options, but for her to, and then also a limiting belief that, oh, she's decided maybe that she's always going to be sad, and why is she being sad and angry at those things? She should also assess herself, ask herself, why is she sad and angry all the time?
Okay, but is it right? Let me just put it in another perspective. Should money be a determinant for happiness and moods? Because some people, I've noticed that whenever they have money, they seem to be in a very cheerful and very joyous mood, and they're always happy, and they relate better with people. But when they are broke, it's the flip side of the story.
So as I said, it's like they need to change their perspective. We've seen that your circumstances only contribute 10% to your happiness. So to be fulfilled, to enjoy your life, to have happiness, you need to be open to other perspectives, to have a goal, a noble goal. What is it you want to contribute to life? It's not just about having money. We found that, millionaires commit suicide. Billionaires too. So you don't have to look at money as being the beginning and end of everything around you. You need to have other perspectives. You have to have goals. Maybe you have you set yourself on a mission that, okay, that you volunteer in the motherless baby's home, or maybe you run a charity or an NGO, or maybe your own mission is to write a book, or maybe if you're an entrepreneur, you have your business is going to be the best business, maybe if it's like a shirt business or whatever. So you have to be very focused. Even being like that, apart from the people around you that won't find you very pleasant to be around, you won't be a happy person if your mood swings are like a pendulum, depending on your bank balance. So once it's entering red, gloom. And it's also not good for your health, your heart. You know, there are a lot of stress-related diseases that can set off just because
you're not happy.
Yes.
Okay, please, can we address unforgiveness and low self-esteem? Do they not play a major role in unhappiness as well?
It's all about your perspective. Why are you not forgiving this person? Because you believe the person has done the worst thing in the world. Why don't you, when you hold on to such things, you're doing yourself health-wise that damage. I mean, it's been preached, it's been, I mean, we're all very aware now of the damage of stress to our system. So what you need to do is release that person, let go. And sometimes, I mean, you assess, really it's all about you. Sometimes people, we're annoyed with people, they don't even know we're annoyed with them. And we go around with that, oh, if only they knew what they did to me, I will never forgive them just because I'm still talking to them. But really, it's still about you. It's the decision you've made to continue in this state of unforgiveness. It all begins and ends with...
Well, what about if the forgiveness right now stems from self? Some people, they've not been able to forgive, themselves, maybe because of something they might have done in the past, and it's actually affecting their present now and maybe their future, and they feel they cannot really reach out and give out because of some terrible things they might have done in the past. They've not been able to forgive themselves. How do you advise such persons?
Forgive themselves. They have to start with an inward, why am I not able to forgive myself? What have I done? And maybe seek counseling. Also look at it from the approach of that I am doing myself this harm. Just because I've done this wrong, does it mean that I can't do better things? I can do better. The good thing is now that I know better, I will do better, and I'll always seek to do better. So let me give myself the information, the support system that will allow me to do better so that I do not fall back in this circumstance again.
Okay, we have several questions. Let's take them now. This one says, Juliet Etta from Ota in Ogun State. She says, how can one find true happiness in a relationship when the man is always concentrating on his work and showing less concern about you?
As we've said earlier in the program, it's not about the man, it's about her. So what's she going to do to make herself happy? If somebody doesn't have time for you and you have time, then that means you need to deploy your time and energy on the things that around you that can make you happy. Is it that you're hanging on to the relationship for hanging on sake? If you're not achieving common goals, and that and part of your own goal in the relationship is that we will spend lots of time together, maybe it's time to give the relationship a rethink. Or maybe it's just that this is a temporary situation for the guy. He has set certain goals, because we women will be the ones that will say, oh, he doesn't have money at the end of the day. So the guy has set himself certain financial goals. So she needs to look at it that, is she going to be a support during this time of work, so that at the end of the day they can all reap the benefits, or she's going to take herself out of that situation and focus on somebody that has more time for her and set her own intention on how she can achieve personal happiness.
Okay. Number one, good morning. I'm married and I'm not happy because my husband is not planning, and when he doesn't have money, he's sad and makes me and the children sad. What do I do?
Some of these issues, really, it didn't start yesterday and it didn't start today. So in the relationship, you have known that this person, maybe from courtship, the person would have probably shown these signs. Deciding to now be in a relationship with the person means that you have to have a rethink on how you're going to set your financial goals so that they're achievable. So if one partner is not planning, the other should be the planner, so that when the money comes into, any income comes in, it's like, oh, you know what, before we start enjoying ourselves. Some of these things, if you plan and you project and you look at what your own, you set the intention that, okay, how do I create happiness from what I've been dealt? You find that you'll be happier.
Okay, good day. I'm in a relationship with a guy for about 2 years now. I don't ask him for money and he always loses his job. I'm the one who takes care of him, but okay, I'm really not getting this. I think, but basically what she's trying to say, let me see if I can paraphrase. He said eventually he beats me up because of some other girls, and she is a single mom. She says she's in a relationship with this guy. They've been on for 2 years, but she takes care of his bills, and he womanizes, and most times he beats her up, and she is also a single mother.
Unfortunately, I'm not a relationship coach, so she needs to speak to a relationship coach.
Okay.
But from my own personal ideas of relationship, I believe that, that's not a healthy situation. Since she says there's domestic violence and she's a single mother, she needs to get out of the relationship because, for safety, and then later on, if they can work something out, but for her own sake and the sake of her children or child, I don't believe she should remain within that.
Okay, there's an opinion. There's an opinion here from Matthew AA. He says, true and complete happiness can only be achieved by self-acceptance and appreciation. We should, all right, don't call, just send SMS. We should not allow our circumstances in life to determine our happiness and identity, because life may not give you what you want or deserve. So happiness is a self-decision in life. Do you agree?
Definitely. Okay. He has said it very well.
All right. This one says, okay, still going down to relationship. I met a girl and we started dating, but everything was built on lies. She got to know the truth about me after she got pregnant, and I've tried begging her. Even almost all my family members have begged her, but she doesn't want to listen to any of us, and I love her. Please, what can I do? I need your advice.
I think he needs a relationship coach.
Okay. Okay, as we begin to round off, I just want you to maybe just recap and just talk about the essence of finding true happiness from oneself.
Okay, so we've learned today that happiness is determined by our intentions, and that we have to know ourselves, we have to accept ourselves, and based on that analysis now have goals to achieve our happiness. And we should also be mindful. It's a daily job. Happiness is not achieved at one point. It's a continuous process, and at the end of the day, at the end of our years, that is when we'll be in a position to say, oh, that we've gone through the process and we're happy, we're fulfilled. So it's an ongoing project. You don't give up, you keep on working at it.
I like
Thank
that.
you very much.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Thank you so much.
I like the last statement you said. You said you don't give up, you keep working at it. So it's something you keep doing till you breathe your last. I'm sure you have penned down a couple of things, just like my colleague Justin did. I hope to see changes soon. Anyway, he's a happy dude anyway. So we'll be back tomorrow. We'll be doing entertainment. Do not forget the time is 10 a.m. I am Uche Onyekuruje. Do have a beautiful Thursday.
And thank you so much. Our guest has been Tosin Doherty. She is the Happy Diva and a life coach, and she has told us what we need to do and how we can go about achieving true and complete happiness. We will return again tomorrow with the entertainment edition. My name is Justin Academy, and a big thank you to all of you who have contributed to this particular episode. We do appreciate it. Let's keep the conversation flowing on social media. Remember, the hashtag is Galaxy Today. Bye for now.